welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back aboard with you once again today, though unfortunately the circumstances, not the best. It wasn't the worst game ever, but it sure was ugly. It sure was ugly. The Minnesota Vikings lose at home to the Baltimore Ravens 27-19. Just reading off that score is ugly as bleep. So, yeah, the Vikings are now, 4-5. Yeah, in a word, ugly, and that's what it was. I don't know if that's going to be the title of the episode, but wouldn't be good for, what do they call it, SEO. They're just ugly, Yeah, that's a great, that's going to really, that's a pretty broad word that won't really help any algorithm or anything. Maybe that's why my show's, I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah, maybe that's why my show sucks. Yeah, no, it doesn't suck. You suck if you think it sucks. And it was a sucky game. 42 attempts, 20 completions for J.J. McCarthy. 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown thrown very late. He also showed some ability late, though he did escape he definitely escaped pressure quite a bit today to J.J. McCarthy, but he got his passes deflected about 55 times in the game. What was it, 13 deflections like I was talking about in the video moments earlier before I did this first segment, before I started working on this first segment. Do check out the video on YouTube if you could. Those are immediate post-game thoughts for a very, very fresh instant conversation there right after the game, if possible. It's about 7 minutes long. Do check it out. Purple Mafia Show on YouTube. Purple Mafia Show on YouTube, just like this, the Purple Mafia Show. The Vikings' penalties were pathetic today. The penalties were just freaking horrendous. 8 false starts. I've never even heard of that before. Like, you think 3 is kind of like, come on, 3 false starts. Jeez, guys, get your butts in gear. Like, what's going on? Are you idiots? Are you just morons? No, they're extreme morons. If you're going to get 8 false starts, you're a pathetic moron. You're a pathetic moron out there. Was it at least 2 for Brian O'Neill alone? Justin Jefferson had one. J.J. McCarthy had one. Like, what's going on? I think Hawkinson had one. Hawkinson, too. Boy, the urgency by T.J. Hawkinson in that final drive when the Vikings had no timeouts and the clock was ticking. Boy, that urgency. He just kind of stood there. Oh, should I get set? Okay, sorry, hold on. There we go. Now I'm set. Dude, the clock's ticking. Don't 20, 27, 26, and you're on like your own 40. Urgency, buddy. You're down by 8. What are you doing? McCarthy's quarterback rating in today's game, 54.5. 248 yards. Yay. About half of them went to Jalen Naylor. Spoiler alert to where he's headed. You could probably guess. 5 catches, 6 targets. Yeah, so only 1 incomplete pass headed in Jalen Naylor's direction. 124 yards, and he also scored the touchdown late in the game. It was a great play. Great throw, and great catch. Even better catch, you could argue. He also had a 62-yard play to Jalen Naylor. Great. Awesome. Justin Jefferson was targeted 12 times. 4 catches, 37 yards. 12 catches. 12 targets. 11 targets for Addison. 3 catches. Jones even, like a lame one late in the game, but also just some general misses and such. 6 targets, 3 catches. So obviously this brought the accuracy way the heck down. What did I come up with on the video? Was it 13 deflections? I'm going to come back to it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Yes, so I got it correctly. 13 pass deflections in this game. I felt about 5 or 6 of them were on the defensive line. It's ridiculous. Like, Jiminy Cricket. Like, extremely frustrating. Okay, here we go. Who's he going to hit? And the ball's been tipped again. I am just losing my mind. Felt like the Baltimore Ravens could have had about 9 interceptions in the game. It was going to be 3 interceptions, but thankfully the Baltimore defender was, basically did not have full possession of the ball as the nose of the ball hit the ground before they had full possession of the ball. A good break for the Vikings, preventing a 3rd interception, which would have pretty much, in all intents and purposes, would have pretty much wrapped up the game at that stage. But the Vikings were able to continue and ultimately score later. So that was nice. Kept the Vikings alive. We appreciate that in a huge way. Baltimore kicker missed a 56-yarder. Other than that, he made 4 out of 5 kicks. Good for him. The Minnesota Vikings kicker, that would be Will Reichert, made, both of his kicks. One of them was from 49 yards. Looks great. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Will Reichert. Good punting by Wright as well, generally speaking. Yeah, not bad. He only punted the ball twice, which is interesting because we were just giving the ball back. We were in the mood to give. Special teams, Price fumbled twice in the game. One of them was recovered by the Vikings. The first one was given back to the Baltimore Ravens. So that's why Mr. Wright only punted twice, despite the Vikings offense not looking all that hot today. Passes being deflected all over the place by this Baltimore defense. Give them credit for sure. The secondary, the linebackers, and of course the defensive line, causing incomplete passes all over the place, and 2 interceptions as well. Almost a third, like I said earlier. But yes, we were in the season of giving. Like, guys, it's a little early for Christmas here. Again, 8 false starts is like ridiculous, for lack of a better word that starts with an R and ends with a D. It was dumb. It was mentally challenged. It was terrible. That's the word you need to. That's as far as I'm going to go with that, without getting somebody yelling at me for that one, because I don't know, everybody's sensitive about everything. I don't know. Blake Cashman had 11 tackles. Thank you very much. Generally speaking, I thought the tackling was horrible. Some of the officiating was pretty ticky-tack. Harrison Smith was flagged for something in the game that felt a little weak. I thought weak call, generally speaking, on a defensive play. Obviously, again, defensive pass interference. Extremely frustrating. Andrew Van Ginkel was pretty active out there. Really nice. Couple of pass deflections that kept the Vikings in the game. No interception, unfortunately, which would have been nice. Only 1 sack in the whole bleeping game as well. Luckily, McCarthy was only sacked once because he was getting rid of the ball fairly quickly and was mobile, was McCarthy, generally speaking, getting away and creating time to throw the ball, which unfortunately would generally lead to incomplete passes, but I digress. McCarthy, 54.5 quarterback rating in the game. Like I mentioned earlier, 248 yards total on 42 passes. Not the best game you could ever imagine for J.J. McCarthy. On some of those plays, he looked a lot more like Cade McNown, throwing, missing high, missing low. Generally speaking, sometimes you're just throwing the ball away, but other times it's like guys wide open and you're missing them by 3 feet 3 feet above them, 3 feet higher than I don't know, at least 2 or 3 feet out of their reach, so to speak, throwing the ball too high and just flat out missing golden opportunities. Like I mentioned, the 12 targets for Justin Jefferson were only 4 catches. It's not because Jefferson was dropping everything that came his way. Yes, he was defended well, generally speaking, in this game, to the Baltimore Ravens' credit, but at the same time, some of the throws were lousy, to say the least. And that's where the Cade McNown comparison is coming in. Now, hopefully it's just one game when we talk about Cade McNown, and I won't bring that name up again on this show, or it'll be brought up a little more. Or you're going to start hearing about, what's the other guy? Rex Grossman, who, would let you down. Christian, let's not go to that one. Let's not go back to that guy. But that guy, yeah, clearly McCarthy's better than him. I feel comfortable saying that. But let's try to get better than these other guys as well. McNown's career was awfully short with the Chicago Bears because he just couldn't complete a pass. And also he was a jackass. So McCarthy definitely doesn't have that gene in him. That's one of the other reasons why McNown's career was so short. It was 2 years with the Bears and 1 with the Dolphins, where he didn't get in a single game because he didn't work well with people. He's just not a good guy. Period. So that was the conversation with McCown years ago. Cade McNown, not McCown. Cade McNown. Let's stay off of McCown. Sorry, buddy. Isn't he the Vikings coach or something? Vikings quarterback coach. So we'll stay off of him. Yeah, it was an ugly bleeping game. It was awful. It was ugly. Extremely frustrating. The defense had some good moments in this game, generally speaking. And Jackson, sometimes he puts up spectacular numbers, and sometimes he just kind of doesn't. Baltimore is notorious for not giving the ball up, and the Vikings were a mess, a turnover mess in today's game. And I mentioned 15 times already the 8 false starts, and I'll mention it. I might mention it 8 different times. I don't know if that's my 3rd or 4th time mentioning it on this episode so far. But 8 times, yeah, so there's my 5th. Okay, so I got 3 to go, I guess. It's just wonderful. Yeah, 1 touchdown, 176 yards. Nothing to really write home about, generally speaking, but mobility definitely was nice. And the 2 times Baltimore fumbled, the ball came right back to the Baltimore Ravens, including Mitchell, the running back. It was like a dribble. Like they said, it was like a guy dribbling a basketball. Went back to him right away, and that could have been a huge moment for the Vikings defense. Just a stroke of luck, so to speak, to give the Vikings great field position and an opportunity to possibly tie or win the game. But it just wasn't meant to be. Damn it, because that would have been the Vikings trailing by 8 at that stage when that crazy fumble happened. But it was a fumble, but recovered immediately by the same player who would end up getting like a 3-yard gain on the play. Lamar Jackson would also lose the ball, but it was recovered by the Baltimore offense as well. The tackling on, God, unbelievably frustrating, on Derrick Henry was horrible. Even though there were some moments where Henry, obviously he's a very old running back at this stage. He just is. 75 for 20. 20 rushes for 75 yards, was on a little better. Almost 4 a carry. It's not like he was spectacular because he only had a 14-yard run. That's why the average is very low. But again, the tackling, especially later in the game when you're trailing, was just freaking horrible. And then Henry would again keep the chains moving, which would again keep the clock running, and the Vikings offense wouldn't see the ball a whole lot. Also, while tiring out the Vikings defense more and more and more and more. You get the idea. Rickard, yeah, he had the one carry that the Vikings need to make a huge stop to stay alive, or to have more time on the clock. The Vikings did have the ball and an opportunity, so it's not like the Vikings had the clock ran out on them. Victory formation for Baltimore. But Ricard just blew right through. What did the Vikings have to stop for, like 4th and 2? Ricard just bulldozed right on through. And that was extremely frustrating. Patrick Ricard. You might think of Patrick Stewart playing Jean-Luc Picard, but a 300-pound, I guess he was playing fullback. Yes, he is a fullback. Fullbacks usually aren't that big. Jeez, looks more like a center, like a typical center. Usually, well, maybe slightly shorter than some, but 300 bleeping pounds. Is he 6'3"? Yeah, he's 6'3". He should be a center. So, geez, and he's from Massachusetts, Spencer, Massachusetts. Patrick Ricard, engage. It's not warp 6, it's just impulse engines going forward, but the shields were up, and unfortunately the Vikings defense was penetrated by Patrick Ricard, and the defense, the shields were definitely up for Patrick Ricard as the Vikings defense bounced off him enough to allow the Ricard to get a first down, and Baltimore ultimately to run the clock some more. Damn it. Anyhow, but that's pretty much what happened in this one. Hope you don't mind my Patrick Stewart / Jean-Luc Picard imitation. Gotta have fun somehow, some way when you watch a game like this, don't you? You gotta have some fun, because it was kind of fun for a minute. You also got to see some flurries, some snowflakes this weekend as the temperature dipped down below whatever it is. You're starting to see Christmas decorations and, of course, department stores have that all that stuff up and ready to roll. Anyone complaining about that? Sorry. I guess that's sorry. I'm not offended by it at all. I'm in full support of it. Go ahead. Put up your Christmas lights if you want to. And if you don't, then don't. I mean, that's kind of how it is. Offended by that, I think you're a dork. That's where I'll go with that one. But, yep, I haven't put anything up yet, but maybe very shortly here. As soon as tonight, we'll see, generally speaking. But early's not at the time of the recording of this first segment, anyway. Nudge, nudge. We'll see how that turns out. If I'm talking about Christmas lights sparkling in front of me at the end of the show. Well, we'll definitely have some interesting games to talk about in the second segment. A couple of really interesting ones. Oh, yes. And last week I very rudely did not talk about the two divisional games. For the two divisional games with, obviously, the Vikings beat Detroit, but Chicago and Green Bay, I didn't even talk about them. The Packers losing to the Panthers was hilarious. Then the Panthers turn around and lose to the Saints today. Welcome to the NFL. I don't even know where to go with that one. That is just weird. You had the Brady Bowl. You had the Purple Bowl. That was the Vikings. We lost the Purple Bowl again. We've had some great seasons where the Vikings would blow the Ravens out, the mediocre Ravens team against a great Viking team, and we'd go to the NFC title game. And then we'd have weird, messy ones like this, and the coach would get fired at the end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen to to Kevin O'Connell. I'm going to get those guys mixed up a lot because the Irish names. But there's no pot of gold at the end of this season. I don't think, guys. I don't think also that Kevin O'Connell will be getting the shaft at the end of the year. But if gun to my head, if I'm to pick between one of the two, it's more likely, I guess, that McCarthy would be fired than this team's going to the NFC title game, because this does not look like a team that's on the verge of a playoff run at all. But yeah, the Bears had a crazy back and forth game with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I mean, amazing football. It was fun to watch if you like super high scoring games, I guess. Sometimes it's fun to watch, sometimes it's goofy and weird, but a great game. Ultimately, the Bears won that one, and they also had a weird one with the Giants today and beat them. So yeah, that's just kind of like a prequel for that. But so the Bears are like 6-3 now, and we'll talk about more of that in the second segment, which will be probably more enjoyable than this one. Is what are you going to talk about in a game like this? Also, we had the loss of Paul Tagliabue today. 84 years of age. 84 years of age, Paul Tagliabue. Seems like yesterday he was still the commissioner. He's been done since 2006. So Paul Tagliabue hasn't been the commissioner of the NFL since 2006. Before I started doing the YouTube bit for which would become Purple Mafia in the podcasting world. Back then it was just simply Paladino Live. Never one-dimensional. That would be the Vikings part of the Paladino Live show, basically. You have the Vikings, you have the Wild, the Wolves, video game conversation, and all that got split into different podcasts over many, many, many years over the course of time. So, and then a really fun one called Mysterious Adventures, but that had nothing to do with YouTube ever until very, very, very recently in 2025. That's the fresh, new, and exciting thing that I've been doing, but not as lately. I haven't done a new episode super lately. Enough about me. Paul Tagliabue, a great commissioner for the NFL. A lot of people would say he was better than Roger Goodell has been. Roger's had his good moments. He's had his not so good moments. I try to stay out of ripping on Roger Goodell, because what good is it going to do me or anybody listening to this show if I trash on Roger Goodell? Seriously. Paul Tagliabue was he was like, I'd say, a business genius. A lot of people respected him. I used to say Paul Tagliabue's wacky bit. Like, say there'd be this crazy great game during the season, and then it'd be like the first or second game, the same two teams would play again, just stuff like that. And Roger Goodell, in a lot of ways, has kind of followed that up over the course of his career. Again, had his ups and downs. But Paul Tagliabue, passing away at age 84 today, this morning, I guess, or overnight. We will give Paul Tagliabue a moment of silence. Thank you, Paul Tagliabue, for an amazing job in the NFL, and God bless your family. Another moment of silence coming up as well, though. Veterans Day, coming up here, and obviously NFL players and coaches and fans as well wearing military-type look with their logos and such, Vikings logos, and every other team out there with the army green and the camouflage and such, and you have the team logos. Veterans, I can't thank you enough. I love you to death for what you've done for this country, going all the way back to the Revolutionary War, for, again, fighting all the way back then, up to the Civil War, the, Spanish-American War, the War of 1812, the, World War One. The U.S. even had some interesting, had like a small war in the Philippines way back in the end of the 1800s even. That isn't talked about a whole lot. And again, I think there's something along the way as well after the Civil War besides that one. That might have been the Spanish. I'm blanking on that one. I apologize. Spanish American sounds like it should be further back, actually. But in like the later stages of the 1800s, then of course you have obviously World War One, which was known as the Great War at the time. Unfortunately, nobody's still around from that one. There are a few veterans remaining from World War II, so definitely cool stuff to say the least. Love them so much. The Greatest Generation. There are a few left. God bless them. The Greatest Generation, nearing the end of that one, unfortunately. We're pretty much all in the century mark now in terms of years on this earth. Amazing how long they've survived after World War II. It's just incredible. And to be able to have memories of that time at their current age is pretty impressive as well. Korean War, of course, in the 50s. Vietnam, that kind of picked up into the 60s and such. And went into the mid-70s. The two Iraq campaigns, of course, the Iraq in the early 90s, and then, of course, into 2003 as well. Desert Storm, Desert Strike. Then you had, any other operations that have taken place over the course of time, and just general Army vets, Navy vets, Marine vets. We appreciate you so much. Navy SEALs, just awesome. Thank you, and God bless all of you so much. Mark Carlson is one for sure veteran that is just been an absolute Hall of Famer for the Purple Mafia show. He for sure is a veteran. Any other veterans out there that have been listening to this show, say something. I'd love to give you a huge shout out. I mean, a huge one. Say something. Yes, I was a veteran. I'm an Army veteran, Navy veteran. Heck, one of my supervisors at work is a Navy veteran as well. So I really appreciate him. Really do. As well. So thank all of you so much, and we will give the veterans a moment of silence. So really appreciated to them in so many ways with all of that said. So really hoping really hoping all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving as we're heading closer and closer to that. Of course, cleanup season is upon me as well, and I don't enjoy that very much. No, but let's pass out the awards for this episode. The Fran Tarkington Award winner for this episode is No, it's not. It is Jalen Naylor, the other J. Jalen Naylor for sure is going to bring home his Fran Tarkington Award for this episode. 5 catches, 124 yards, and that big touchdown. He also had 4 completions as well, 4 first downs anyway, which includes the touchdown. There was a weird back and forth with Adam Thielen as well. What was it called? A pick type of thing where he lowered his shoulder into somebody. So interesting moment there. Not sure what to make of that one other than it's just, I don't know, guys freaking out and overreacting. It was pretty annoying, unfortunately. So, yeah, the Christian Ponder Memorial, it could kind of go all over the place. It could be McCarthy. He had a crappy game, generally speaking. He missed a lot, and he got the ball knocked all over the place. But I think it needs to go to in general to the 8 false starts. Generally speaking, it can go to all the players that did them, all of them, So, including Brian O'Neill, McCarthy was one of them, Justin Jefferson was one of them, Blake Brandel was one of them. Just extremely frustrating, to say the least. Just stupid penalties. Some of them you didn't really get to hear about that. Yeah, Brian O'Neill had 2 of them. That's ridiculous. So it could partially go to him, even though it's not like he was terrible in the game. But 2 false starts. You're a team captain, by the way. So what's going on? 2 false starts? And, of course, again, McCarthy is a team captain. Justin Jefferson is the best player on the team. What's going on? Just undisciplined and stupid. So, come on, guys. That's BS. T.J. Hawkinson as well. 0 freaking urgency, and I do think he did have one of the the false starts. 0 urgency at all when McCarthy and the guys were trying to get the Vikings down the field to try to tie the game up. 0 urgency whatsoever. And he had 2 catches for 8 bleeping yards. So I guess if you're going to give it to one single individual player, it's T.J. Hawkinson for what he makes and for his complete lack of urgency. It's like, I don't give a damn. Oh, now okay, now I'll get set. Just no urgency. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with you? Jeez. So that's my frustrations going forward with that one. With that, we'll take a break and return for segment number 2 to look around the league and preview the upcoming Chicago Bears game. Uh-oh. Well, somebody's got to beat them. They're 6-3 now. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2. Well, time to look around the league and preview the upcoming game against the Bears, if you can call them that. Obviously, there's tons of history with them. Timberwolves and Sacramento Kings flashing in the background. Minnesota Wild and Calgary Flames next to me as well. So kind of keeping up with both of them. Oh, it drives me nuts how the Timberwolves and the Wild tend to play on the same night. Why can't they be on opposite nights? Like Saturday night, no Wolves, no Wild. Sunday, both. Can we? Yeah, come on. Can't we have like Wolves on Friday, Wild Saturday, or whatever, and then we'll back to Wolves on Sunday, and then Wild on Monday? Why does it have to be like the two teams on the same night and then nothing the next night? It's just dumb. It's dumb. It's hard to keep up with both teams at the same time, and then it's lame when there's nothing on at all. Like Saturday bleeping night, there's no game. Hello, hello, hello. But anyhow, enough of that. Otherwise, you got a baseball score between the San Diego Padres and the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, yeah, the football game. That's going on as well. A safety for the Pittsburgh Pirates Steelers, if you can call them that. The Bears and the Giants, well, that's going to be the very last game we're going to look at. Two classic teams from the 80s and many years before that, but they were both very good, teams back then. AFC Championship game, great memories back in the early 90s and such against just two phenomenal teams, Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills. Who do you think won this game? Like 99% of the population would say the Buffalo Bills, but the Dolphins smoked the Buffalo Bills. It was in Miami though, but still they smoked the Bills 30-13. Yeah, like Paul Tagliabue's wacky bit. So huge shout out to Paul Tagliabue again. His wacky bit right here. This is an example of what PA used to talk about. Josh Allen, 20 of 40 in his completion to attempt type of deal. He did throw an INT. There's his grape jelly stain. He also lost a fumble. Cook the third also lost a fumble. This team only matched 13 stinking points. Ouch. This Buffalo Bills team just didn't work out, It just didn't. Matt Prater attempted, he had one extra point attempt. So, okay. Wow. Yeah, well, the Dolphins won their third game of the season. Tua threw two interceptions. Like in a game when Tua throws two interceptions, Josh Allen's completion percentage is like 75. You'd think the Bills probably blew out the Dolphins. Like final score is 30-13. What do you think won? Buffalo, right? It had to be Buffalo, especially when you had two grape jelly stains all over Tua's jersey with the interceptions. But no, it just didn't work out, did it? Because Arcane, I think I'm saying it correctly, had about 8 yards of carry. Might as well be Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl football right there. 22 rush attempts, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Rejoice, fantasy owners of Mr. Arcane. I keep calling him Arcane, but it's a cane, because I screwed that up again. Almost 8 yards of carry, 2 touchdowns. It worked out pretty nicely, despite Tua having two interceptions, if that's okay to say. Jalen Waddell, 5 catches, 84 yards. Arcane, God dang it. 6 catches, 51 yards. Yep. Waddle also included a touchdown, but total all-purpose yards type of dealy for Arcane, 225 all-purpose yards for Arcane. Hell of a game for the Miami Dolphins, and they won the game. Yeah, see what I did there? Well, didn't rhyme that great, but they won. Again, the Pirates and the Padres are still playing right now on NBC. 3-2 after the first quarter. Otherwise, the Slackers host the Eagles, so it'll be an all-green game on Monday night in Lambeau Field on ABC. Yes, Thursday night, which is where I should have led things off, the Denver Broncos versus the Las Vegas Golden Silver Knights, or whatever they call themselves. Thursday, November the 6th, when it wasn't quite as freezing cold as it is right now here in the Twin Cities area anyway. It's probably cold in Iowa too, I'm guessing, right? Mark, Leland. My brain's stopping. Why is this happening to me? How am I not saying Dave Hickey immediately? Yeah, I'm sorry, Dave Hickey, of course. Mark Leland, Dave Hickey. Iowa is a great place. Many years ago, Jason from Delta, Iowa. He was actually the first Iowegian to ever jump on board the Purple Mafia show. He was the first caller ever, way back in 99. No, not quite that long ago, even though I was a big Viking fan back then. Not as objective at the time. 2009, pardon me. And then he disappeared off the face of the earth. He was actually not the first caller, but still, he was, kind of. He kind of was in a lot of ways. It sure felt like that. What the heck am I talking about? Geno Smith had an interception in the game. Pickett threw one pass and didn't complete it. Ugly. 10-7 game. Yuck. It was the Colorado Rockies versus the Oakland A's. Okay, I'm just getting the whatever they call themselves, the Las Vegas A's, which was what they will be someday. Right now they're like just the A's, but they're basically playing in Sacramento-ish. 10-7, what a boring game. Bo Nix, 2 interceptions. He's been having a rough couple of weeks here as Bo Nix. His completion percentage is down. His quarterback rating is down in the tubes. 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown pass thrown. Congratulations there, as Mr. Dobbins did rush for 77 yards, but on 18 attempts to get there. Not terrible, but not great. A boring, ugly Thursday night game, but the Broncos are 8-2, and the Raiders are 2-7. Basically on 2 different planets there. Indianapolis Colts hosting the Atlanta Falcons, the Matt Ryan Bowl, I guess. I guess it's the Matt Ryan Bowl, as there's all different kinds of bowls everywhere. In today's game, there was the Purple Bowl, and the Vikings got killed because anything with the word bowl included with the Vikings, it feels like we just find a way to lose, I guess. Too soon? Yeah, it's too soon. It's never too soon. Michael Penix completed 12 passes, 12 of 28. Spectacular. He didn't throw an interception, but he did lose a fumble in the game. Yes, he did. He was a strip sack situation. Sacked 3 times was Penix against this pretty good Colts team. Penix, icky game generally speaking, but a quarterback rating still found a way to be 76 instead of like lower. The Indianapolis Colts win in overtime, 31-25, scoring a touchdown along the way for a victory. Bijan Robinson almost 5 yards a carry for 84 yards. Good for him. And Elliger, big boy, got in the end zone twice for the Falcons. Also 5.2 yards a carry. You'd have thought the Falcons would have won this game, but Penix was pretty meh at best. Daniel Jones, well, he was certainly efficient, but he had the grape jelly stain, the son of a gun. And he fumbled 3 times and lost it once. He fumbled 3 times. 3 times. Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, who ran for 244 yards and 3 touchdowns, he fumbled, but he didn't lose the fumble either. So there were 4 fumbles in this game that were not recovered by the Falcons. 4. That is some bleep. That is some bleep. Like the angry video gamer would say. 4 fumbles that were not recovered by the defense. How does that even happen? Daniel Jones, hang on to the ball, man. What's going on? Didn't he have like 2 or 3 fumbles like last week, and then he had like 2 or 3 interceptions? It was like, what happened? It was a Dante Culpepper impression. Well, it kind of Dante-ish again. An interception and a fumble lost, but 2 others that were not lost, thanks to himself or teammates recovering the ball. Otherwise, Daniel Jones, 19 of 26, that's pretty efficient. 255 yards and a touchdown, still found a way to have a quarterback rating over 100 at 106. Jonathan Taylor, though, rushed the ball 32. I mean, this was a running type of a game. This was, Bo Jackson versus Michael Dickerson? Yeah, that's what it was like. I just saw Rudy Gobert block a shot and go coast to coast. That's what distracted me. I just saw Rudy Gobert block a shot and go coast to coast. Rudy Gobert? Yeah, there's the Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert, if you know who that is. He's not fast at all. That was interesting. I just saw him go coast to coast. Yet, of course, Sacramento hits a bleeping 3 down the son of a... Anyhow, what a game in terms of running the ball. I mean, both quarterbacks were kind of a mess, though Jones was definitely more efficient, just he couldn't hang on to the ball. Like, what the hell's wrong with you, dude? 244 yards, though, for Jonathan Taylor. He is the MVP of football. 3 touchdowns. Again, Saquon Barkley. He's the Saquon Barkley of this year. 244 yards in one game? Like, how people are like, wow, he made it to 1,000 yards. Remember back in the day, that would be a big deal? That's about 1/4 of the way there in one game. 3 touchdowns is like 1/4 of the way to 12 touchdowns in a season. That would be a great season, 12 touchdowns is considered pretty good, and that's how many he has already, him being Jonathan Taylor. I believe that was just coming into the game. I don't think these stats have been updated. So Jonathan Taylor would already have 15 touchdowns if this isn't updated. And let's see, 895 yards. You had 244. So we're talking like 1,100 plus. Are you kidding me? With 15 touchdowns. Just give him the MVP trophy. I mean, that's wild. Jeez, Jonathan, what's going on here? I mean, he's already got more touchdowns coming into today's game, more touchdowns than last year with 11. It's a pretty good season. 1,431 yards in one season, averaging over 100 rush yards a game. That is spectacular stuff. I just can't believe what I'm watching, what I'm looking at here. That is freaking awesome. That's pretty good. What are the Colts now? 8-2, I think. Yep, 8-2. That's 10 games. Yeah, so this was after 9 games, so it didn't even include today's stats, and his numbers were that high. Saquon Barkley, eat your heart out, and then again, Daniel Jones, a former Viking potential quarterback, who never threw a pass for the Vikings, unfortunately. So he will not count, by the way. If you're playing Immaculate Grid, Daniel Jones' tenure with Minnesota doesn't count. Doesn't that suck? Because he didn't throw a single snap. He did not play a single minute for the Vikings actively. He was just on the inactive roster, basically, wasn't he? He didn't play a single game. That's how it works. Like how the Wolves would have certain guys like, I don't think Rick Mahorn played a single minute for the Timberwolves, so he actually doesn't count as a Timberwolf. You know, like we're talking way back in like the late 80s when the Timberwolves just started. Rick Mahorn, the former Detroit Piston, winning championships there. But let's get off of the Detroit Pistons here. Detroit Pistons basketball here on Purple Mafia. Sounds like fun. It actually does. After today's game, it would sound fun. Speaking of fun football, you ready for some fun? You ready? New York Jets won their second game in a row after starting the season 0-7. All right. 27-20 over the Brown Bags. And the Brown Bags are now 2-7. Also, which tells you something. That means the New York Jets have the tiebreaker over the Brown Bags. Congratulations, Brown Bags, getting beaten by the Jets that have no fuel in them or something. Gabriel, not that bad. Not that good either. Looked like a backup quarterback, basically, which is pretty much what he's destined to be. 32 attempts, 17 completions, 2 touchdowns. Cool. Kind of Carson Wentz-ish, I guess. Didn't throw an interception or anything. Good for him. Beautiful. 89 quarterback rating. Great. Judkins on the ground. Well, kind of 2 yards cloud of dust to still wound up with 75 yards. Just kind of old school smash mouth football, I guess you could say. 11 yards on the 11 yard long. So just kind of they gave him the ball and he'd go a couple yards forward, and that's about it. Like Leroy Horde starting for the Jets, kind of. That's what Judkins was, the Browns today. As for Le Jets. Justin Fields, another just weird anomaly. What the hell is this? Is it a wide receiver playing? Is it a wide receiver playing quarterback type of game? 11 pass attempts, 11 completing 6. 11 pass attempts, completing 6. I just. This is a starting quarterback in the NFL, and Justin Fields is a good player, but I think he's better than people say. At bare minimum, he'd make an exciting, like, change of pace backup at the bare minimum type of guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind him here. But 54 yards passing, and you won. 54 yards passing, and he threw an interception as well. One of those 11 passes was an interception. Go figure. I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, what the hell? Brees Hall, though, one of those pass completions by Justin Fields was for 42 yards, which tells you the other 5 attempts accounted for 12 yards. How's that even possible? How is that even possible? So 1 pass completion to Williams for 4 yards, Taylor 4 yards, Mechke the third 3 yards, and Davis 1 yard. This game is filled with urban legends. Like, how is this even possible? What a weird week. What a weird week. The Miami Dolphins crush the Buffalo Bills in a game where Tua throws 2 interceptions. And Josh Allen was actually pretty good. And they crushed them. They didn't just beat them. The Jets win their second game of the week with 5 receivers, 6 completions in the whole game, and 5 of the receivers accounting for 12 total yards. How does that even happen? That must mean Brees Hall ran for like 250 yards or something, right? No, 21 attempts for 83. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's like, the average. It's like an average good starter, basically. Like a good starter. And Hall also accounted for 42 yards. So he definitely gets the Joe Namath Award for today's game. No doubt about it. Joe Namath Award for the New York Jets, Breece Hall, with 1 catch and 42 yards. 1 catch and 42 yards. Oh, and Kenny Nwangwu also with 3 kick returns for 143 and also ran the ball in for a touchdown. So Nwangwu, former Vikings player that couldn't stay healthy and they got sick of it and were hell with you, dude. Sorry, man, we're sick and tired of dealing with you being hurt all the time. 99-yard return for a touchdown. So that was the play of the game. Kenny Nwangwu actually probably should get the award just for that 1 return. But other than that, 4 sacks for McDonald the fourth. What the hell? There's all kinds of Joe Namath awards here. 4 sacks for McDonald the fourth. Jiminy Cricket. 4 sacks in 1 game. Jeez. That's where's the Lawrence Taylor Award? Holy cow. Okay, well, the Jets won their 2nd game of the season and their 2nd game in a row, which is hopefully what the Wolves are going to do tonight, beat the Sacramento Kings, which has nothing to do with 2 games in a row or anything. Or did the Wolves win their last game? I don't think they did. I think they played like dog poop in their last game. I know they got whooped by the Knicks again, which is stupid. What's wrong with the Wolves and the Knicks? It's garbage. Anyhow, the Patriots, 28 in the Brady Bowl. So here's another bowl here. You get the Green Bowl tomorrow. Fill in your sarcastic answer to that one. The Green Bowl, the Packers and the Eagles. We'll get off of that. The Base Bowl tonight. Base Bowl football. Yeah. What am I even talking about? The Brady Bowl, 28-23. Well, Brady did play a number of years for the Bucks. Most of his career with the Patriots, if you forgot somehow. How could you? 6 Super Bowl titles here and 1 over here, which is an insanely impressive feat to be able to win a Super Bowl with 2 different teams as a spectacular quarterback as well. Joe Montana didn't quite do that for the Chiefs, but he did get them to the AFC title game only to be destroyed by the Buffalo Bills back in '93, who were also destroyed by the Cowboys, and that sucked. Drake May completed 16 of 31. Not a great game, but still 2 touchdowns and an interception. I guess a pretty good Tampa defense because, their coach is a good defensive coach. He's a good coach. Them over there in Tampa. Henderson, the running back, with 13 carries, 147 yards. Another spectacular day of running, this time in New England. 2 touchdowns for Henderson, also on the ground. Fantasy players dance and celebrate, I suppose. Henderson only 3 yards on a catch, though, so it didn't quite get some total yard fun stuff going on there. But the Patriots ended up winning the football game by a final score of 28-23. I don't know, 8-2. The New England Patriots, I mean, it's like the last 3 years they maybe won 8 games total. Now they've got 8 wins. Looking great. Well, maybe the last 2 years or so. Either way, they were pretty lousy. In Belichick's final season and the 1 year last year with a single-year coach type of thing. I think Vrabel's got a job for a while. The Bucs dropped to 6-3 after the loss. They're still 6-3, which is a nice record, but I'm sure losing today was not fun for them, especially at home. The Patriots look wonderful, and we'll see what happens there. Let's watch some spectacular football here. This is some exciting stuff. You know the team that beat the Packers last week, the Carolina Panthers? Man, they really overachieved, and they kept the Packers to hardly anything. Packers were just kind of like left flabbergasted, like, what the hell happened here? How do you lose to this team? The Panthers are okay. They won their 5th game of the year. They were 5-4. They might be even talking postseason over there in North Carolina, over there in Raleigh. And then they hosted the New Orleans Saints the next week. What could go wrong? We're going to be 6-4. What could possibly go wrong? The Saints, they're the worst team in football. They lost. The Panthers managed 7 lousy points. 7. Kind of like what the Packers did last week. 17-7. The Saints beat the Carolina Panthers. Like, way to no-show, guys. What a garbage game for the Panthers. What happened? I don't know. But a showed up for the Saints. 19 of 27, 2 touchdowns. Great game. Quarterback rating of 129. What do you think of that? Taysom Hill attempted a pass in one of those cute trick plays they like to do. And, it didn't happen. But it wasn't an interception at the very least. Olave was spectacular with 5 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Johnson also for the Saints with a touchdown. Great. Nice game for the Saints, winning their second game of the year. That's wonderful. Panthers. Bryce Young, well, grape jelly stain and not a whole lot else. 17 of 25, 124 yards, a quarterback rating of 62.8. Dawdle was not the same guy. That Saints defense showed up to play. Maybe Mr. Allen is still coaching the Saints because that was what he's good at, was defense. Dawdle with only 53 rushing yards, but he did get in the end zone. So again, it's one of those meh games, but when they still get in the end zone, fantasy ballers are feeling okay. Bryce Young did add a lost fumble in the game as well. So Bryce Young still struggling and sucking, generally speaking, unfortunately. Kind of like a certain guy locally today kind of struggled and sucked a little bit. Sorry, I said too soon. He didn't, but at the same time, I agree with what a lot of was said on the red line for Score North, where it's like it's not really. McCarthy didn't have a whole lot of help. Justin Jefferson had maybe his worst game as a Viking. He was freaking horrible. 8 false starts, that's freaking horrible too. But Justin or J.J. McCarthy also, again, kind of, he did a Pelfrey or whatever you want to say. Oh, it's all my fault and da-da-da-da-da. Maybe the way he was calling the count was confusing for the players, because I don't even know how in God's name you can have 8 false starts at home. How does that happen? It does happen to road teams because of the noise, because that's just how football is. But at home, doesn't make any sense. Another team that doesn't make any sense is we segue to the Houston Texans hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think either one of these teams makes any sense. One week they look good, and the next week they're garbage. Just like Jermaine Wiggins said many, many years ago, former Vikings tight end who won a championship, at least one, I think it might have been 2, but at least one, with his hometown New England Patriots. He had that Boston accent. Jermaine Wiggins is, you never know what you're going to get in this league. You could get gold and you could get garbage. And, that's pretty much what Houston and Jacksonville have been this year. Gold or garbage, off and on. The Texans have been a little worse, but they won their 4th game of the year. They're 4-5, just like us. And Jacksonville drops to 5-4 after a strong start to the season, supposedly. Trevor Lawrence is kind of back to being that mediocre guy who doesn't throw for 200 yards and always has that stupid interception. And he also had 2 fumbles, but only 1 lost. Good for him. Anthony Jr. did get in the end zone with 58 yards. He'll be a next 2nd or 3rd running back, I suppose, in the fantasy world, where Lawrence, I don't know, he's a guy who probably should be a free agent in this day and age of fantasy football. I don't know. He's kind of a bust. He kind of is. He just is. Mills over there starting the game. Unfortunately, no Stroud in today's game. 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Marks 63 yards on the ground with a touchdown for the Houston Texans, the victorious Houston Texans. 3.5 sacks for Mr. Hunter. Is that Danielle Hunter? It is, isn't it? And gosh, he only had 4 coming in the season, but he's making them up. He's making up for it pretty quickly. 3.5 sacks today for now a total of 7.5. So good for you, Danielle. No, yeah, 7.5. 3.5 sacks on the season now, with its 3.5 today. Danielle Hunter, demolishing Trevor Lawrence in today's game. Good to see. I was like D Hunter. Who could that be? Oh, of course, it's Danielle. Just wanted to make 1,000% sure. I'm like, yeah, that's right. He did go to Houston before the Vikings acquired Jonathan Grenard, who was on Houston. So it was kind of like a free agent trade swap thingy, mabob. But Houston wins by 7 in a weird, wacky, high-scoring Paul Tagliabue type of day. Again, more shout-outs to Paul Tagliabue as we continue to go forward. God bless him at, again, 84 years of age. No more Paul Tagliabue, unfortunately. Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold, 44-22 was a double-up effort. Seahawks are 7-2. They're a huge threat going forward in the National Football Conference. Jacoby Brissett completed half of his passes, but did manage 2 touchdowns. He fumbled twice, yeah. He didn't throw an interception, but he fumbled twice. Yeah, that's great. He fumbled twice. That's awful. Just awful. Good for him, I guess. McBride with 9 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown in the Larry Fitzgerald Award, I guess, or Kurt Warner, whoever you want to give it to. for the Mr. Cardinal of the week, or Dave Craig or whatever, or what was that other guy's name? I don't even know. I think it was Dave Craig. Steve Bierlein Award. I don't know. No, it's got to go to Kurt Warner. He took him to the Super Bowl, or Larry Fitzgerald. They both were on that team. Otherwise, the Seahawks. Is it too soon to say the Russell Wilson Award? Holy crap. They scored 44 points in today's game. Blowout. Sam Darnold attempted only 12 passes and completed 10 of them, and one of them was an interception. Come on, Sam. What's going on? This is weird. This is the weirdest bunch of football games I've ever seen. At least when you just look at the stat line. Oh, yeah. And by the way, what did Sam Darnold do twice? He turned the ball over 3 freaking times in this game. And yet they still won the game 44 to 22. Sam Darnold fumbled twice and threw an interception. He completed 12 passes in the game. Completed 12 passes in the game. What the heck kind of football is this? I have no idea. J. Smith JSN, basically, did have 93 yards and 5 catches and a touchdown for Seattle. Sam Darnold's not winning any Russell Wilson Award in this game. I mean, he wasn't even that good. Though the efficiency, general efficiency, yes, fantastic. But you lost 2 fumbles, dude. 2. And you threw an interception. So, they won. They won. That's all you can say. They won. Despite playing like crap, you still blew the other team out. That tells you how bad the Cardinals are. Yuck. Another blowout. The Los Angeles Rams blow out the 49ers. Doggone it. And wasn't that game fun earlier in the year? You know how things always change. The other shoe drops. Like Cleveland Cavaliers beat the stupid-ass Golden State Warriors, and it felt like $1 billion. And then the next year it was just polar opposite. The Warriors just steamrolled, just slaughtered the Cavaliers. And it was disgusting, because how can you stand them? Put it this way, screw you if you were cheering for the Warriors in that series or any of those series. But it was, how the other shoe drops, and you're just like, it was so much fun. It just feels like yesterday. Everything was so much fun. Now it just sucks. And that's kind of what this was, because I don't like the Rams. I don't like the Rams that much. I don't like the Dodgers at all. Like, watching the Dodgers lose, you feel like $1 billion. Toronto's going to win this thing. And then they just didn't. It was so freaking sad. But I talked about that last week, so let's go Twins, I guess, with Derek Shelton. He sounds pretty cool. I like Derek Shelton, I think. We'll see how that turns out, but he sounds cool. So very happy. LaTroy Hawkins is going to be, the bullpen coach? So, all right, Twins fans. Let's, I'm sure there's some Twins fans in Iowa and, the Dakotas here and all that good stuff. Probably not too many in Wisconsin, but there must be some. Just like there are Brewers fans here, I'm sure. But anyhow, Matthew Stafford, 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, just destroying the 49ers, just killing them. Williams, also at running back, only 14 attempts, got in the end zone 2 times, 73 yards. Corum, also for 56 yards. Devontae Adams with 6 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Puka Nakua rolls right off your tongue. I know I say that every time because it rolls right off your tongue. 64 yards and a touchdown. Good for him. Wahoo. Reality kind of setting in San Francisco. I mean, when you have like 19 injuries, eventually it's going to catch up with you, and it's just things aren't going to be so much fun anymore. Mac Jones did throw for 3 touchdowns, but he also threw an interception. Robinson Jr. for San Francisco got in the end zone once with 41 yards. Good for him. McCaffrey was 2 yards in a cloud of dust in the time he got the ball. George Kittle with 9 catches, 84 yards, and a tutty. Jennings is back. Good for him. Juwan Jennings with 6 catches, 71 yards, and a tutty for him. The 49ers beat pretty badly in San Francisco, so the road team winning in both occasions in this pretty big rivalry between the Niners and the Rams. It was the NFC Championship game a few years ago. The Niners looked like they may have gotten it, and the Rams pulled away and won the game and wrapped it up. And it was the same, basically, football game versus the Bengals 2 weeks later. And the stupid Rams won the Super Bowl. And I don't like the Rams, okay? I just don't. I don't despise them like the Dodgers because they're not as evil as the Dodgers. They're just not. The Dodgers are evil. If you like baseball, the Dodgers are evil. Seriously. But the Rams, no. Like, the evil team in the NFL is the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Yuck City Chefs, consider yourself, semi-lucky. You don't have to hear me rip you to pieces. Yeah, like they care about me. But anyhow, another anomaly. Ready for another one? Another 44-22 game. Okay. Pretty weird. Sorry about that. I had to hit the dump button. I was sneezing. So I was not yawning. I was sneezing. This is definitely allergy season. And I'm not a big allergy guy, really. I'm not like my brother and other people that have to cover their face up pretty much when they're out doing fall cleanups. But that oak powder and stuff, it eventually gets to me a little bit. Or the stupid ragweed that tends to be around this apartment. Anyhow, 44-22, the Lions beat the Washington Commanders with Donald J. Trump, not only in attendance, but went in the booth for an extended period with Mr. Kenny Albert. So that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Jonathan Vilma, and that was enjoyable. That was pretty cool. So I saw a bit of that. Just happened to be like, because that game was here locally. That was very nice. So if you don't like him, then sorry. But I certainly don't mind him. Let me just leave it at that. I certainly don't mind him at all. So it's up to you. That was, Anyhow, the Detroit Lions, though, were crushing the Commanders the entire game, and it ended up being 44-22. Not a very good game. And, of course, our friend, this was last Sunday, wasn't it? When I was like, I couldn't tell. It looked like he'd hurt his knee. And this was when the Commanders were getting blown out last week. Jaden Daniels looked like he'd hurt his knee. That's what I thought was happening. But then it's like you look close, like, oh, okay, I see what happened. His forearm, like the other side of your elbow, like the front part with your hand and stuff, was tucked kind of behind him as he was falling, and just kept bending and bending and bending. It was nasty and scary, and And I guess there was some weird anomaly, like the injury happened on like the same day, playing out for the same team and the same team and everything. The same day it's Washington again, just like many years ago with the injury with Joe Theismann, and then many years later with Alex Smith as well. And many years ago now, a catastrophic injury to Alex Smith. It was another broken leg for him. In this case, a dislocated elbow for Jaden Daniels. Supposedly, the injury is not as bad as originally feared. So, very exciting to hear that. And the good news is, wasn't it non-throwing? So that's the other good part as well. Not that you want to be injured in any way with anything. I don't want to see anybody's left arm or whatever injured, or right arm if they happen to be left-handed, injured with a catastrophic thing like that. That can still mess up your career, I'm sure, one way or another. But if it ends up not being a catastrophic Teddy Bridgewater type of injury to his elbow, great. That's wonderful. So absolutely wonderful to hear that maybe it just looked worse than it ended up being. Like the injury was not nearly as, or was not as catastrophic as it could have been. Like there's nothing holding it together, and then let's leave that where that needs to be. Marcus Mariota statistically was great. Didn't look great doing it necessarily, but was great. 16 of 22, 2 touchdowns, awesome. Quarterback rating of 133.3. Again, further proof that on paper doesn't always mean everything. Sometimes you might want to actually watch the game, but he wasn't bad. But again, not as spectacular as he looked on paper. Jared Goff and the Lions just smoked him. Jared Goff looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, which is what he should be. Last week he was not against the Vikings defense. Jahmyr Gibbs is like one of the best running backs in the league, but he was not last week against the Vikings. Again, Paul Tagliabue's wacky bid, right? Jared Goff, 25 of 33, 3 touchdowns. No fumbles or anything like that. Not that he had any turnovers last week either, because this Viking defense doesn't turn over anybody. It stinks. As good as the Vikings defense can be, the turnovers just aren't happening, are they? Jahmyr Gibbs, 15 carries, 142 yards, and a 43 long rushing average of almost 10 yards a carry. Fun. That's what we're all about. 2 touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs. Mr. Montgomery as well. Man, yep, still 71 yards, a solid game, almost 5 yards a carry. Amazing stuff. Lions, smoking the Commanders. The Privates, the Cadets, the Washington Cadets. They're not the Commanders. Last year they got to the NFC title game. They whooped on the Lions in their own field. Today, the Lions whooped the Washington Commanders on their field. Whether Trump was in attendance or not, unfortunately. So unfortunately for him. He had to see that icky game, but that's how it goes. Hopefully they didn't do it on purpose. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I liked the way Vilma and Kenny Albert, how respectful they were, so that was pretty cool. You always wonder how people really think, if they did, maybe they voted for him, maybe they didn't, but who knows? I guess it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Trump. No, personally, I don't agree with everything he says and does, but you can't agree with everything anybody says and does. You can't. But generally speaking, yeah. Generally speaking, let's just say, yeah. I mean, you probably could just figure out. It goes without saying. Yeah, it goes without saying. You could go. It goes without saying. Let's just say I didn't vote for Joe Biden. You know, let's just leave that where that needs to be. Please forgive me if you hate me for that, but I'm not here to tell you how to vote or like I'm better than you or whatever. Or I hope you don't think you're better than me either. That's not what we're here for here on Purple Mafia. Well, the baseball game continues. What are they? What would they be called? The Chargers. It's not the Padres. Yeah, but I'd rather call them the Chargers. I'm sick of Los Angeles stuff. I guess it's the LA Angels, I guess, over the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Pirates, 5-3 right now, heading into halftime. So, yeah, 5-3. The Wild are up 1-0, and the Wolves are doing pretty good against Sacramento. It's a fun matchup. Minnesota versus Sacramento historically has been a very fun matchup, and I mean talking way back into the early Garnett years. We're talking back about, almost, 25, 26, 27 years ago. Garnett and co. would have some very epic games against the Sacramento Kings when Chris Webber was there and afterward. And, of course, all these years later, we had some epic battles against De'Aaron Fox and all that, and now it's former Timberwolf Zach LaVine after that trade. So check out the Timberwolves Explosion podcast or Brave the Wild if you like either of those sports as well, because those shows are there. Check them out. Anyhow, Detroit crushed the Washington Commanders. So next week's opponent, I'm not going to get too deep into history because it would take about 20 years. Like the divisional opponents, we play them twice every year, and we've been in the same division for 60 plus years. So that's a long time. It's a long time. But the anomaly of this game is that the Bears, again, another back and forth crazy battle with a team that, the record's not so good. But the New York Giants the New York Giants are always in games where they find a way to lose. They're kind of just, I don't know, they're only 2-8. That's really kind of sad because they've looked dangerous at times this year. The Bears have been in a lot of crazy back and forth battles, kind of like the game last year in Soldier Field. Epic fun game. Was a Sunday afternoon type of game. Then went out and did some lawn cleanups afterward, or lawn cleanup or two, that type of thing. The Vikings survived and were 9-2 at the time, so it was about the same time of year. Fun stuff. A little bit, teeny bit later in the season. This was week 9. That would be week 11, I believe, if we were 9-2. Maybe the Vikings didn't have our bye yet. I think we might have had it later in the season. But anyhow, because this is actually week 10, excuse me. The Bears are 6-3. What do you think of that? It's crazy. Jackson darted the ball 29 times for 19 completions. So, yeah, I know, it's real cute. Russell Wilson was sacked twice. He was in there for 7 attempts. Dart was in there for 29. Both of them were sacked twice. No touchdowns thrown at all. But 2 touchdowns ran in by Jackson Dart, who was able to dart on his feet versus throwing the ball, but he also lost a fumble. So he didn't throw an interception, but he lost a fumble. That figures. As for the Bears, next week's opponent, and the team has been definitely the most improved team in the league pretty much this year. Caleb Williams did run the ball into the end zone in a pretty athletic, fun-to-watch play, 29 yards into the end zone. It's like, are they going to bring him down? I guess they're not. What the hell? DeAndre Swift also ran for 80 yards, but Caleb Williams ran for 63 total. DeAndre Swift was pretty much unstoppable as the Giants' run defense stunk. Caleb Williams threw the ball 36 times, only 20 completions. Still kind of mediocre as a general quarterback throwing the ball, but he'll have some good games and he'll have some meh games. Athleticism is very much there, and he's a big, strong guy in his second season. In the same draft that J.J. McCarthy was taken, but number 1 overall in this guy's case. 83.1 quarterback rating. Well, better than J.J. today. But I got to think the Giants' defense is far inferior to Baltimore's. And you know what? Earlier this season, Baltimore's defense was freaking pathetic. But today, they started to look like the Baltimore defense we used to know many moons ago. looked like a threat, to say the least. Odunze for the Chicago Bears with 6 catches and 86 yards. He's been definitely a target for Caleb Williams, and it's an entertaining matchup. J.J. McCarthy's first game ever was against his hometown Chicago Bears. J.J. McCarthy grew up in suburban Chicago, basically, and then played for the Michigan Wolverines, of course. Rome Odunze has not had a great season necessarily. He's been good. What is he at? About 600 yards on the season and 6 touchdowns. So not bad numbers. He's on pace for a decent season. Last year he was just a rookie, so he's definitely a nice piece. He was the 9th overall pick by the Bears in 2024. So yep, it's like, yeah, you got your big time receiver, but he's not really that big time. He's been okay. He's it's okay. The chemistry's growing between him and Caleb Williams. They've had some good weeks and some bad weeks. DeAndre Swift is definitely a threat. David Montgomery is no longer in Chicago for the last multiple years now. He's been in Detroit, joining a division rival there. Chicago's defense can definitely be a pain in the ass to go up against. Gardner Johnson with 2 sacks today, a sack and a half for Sweat. Oh boy, not him again. Yep, Montez Sweat. Oh boy. Well, what did he have today? Did he have a sack and a half? So he's already reached last year's total of 5.5 on the season. Montez Sweat's he's definitely getting a little bit on the older side. What is he, like 29? So good for him. 28, 29 years of age. Still a nice, solid veteran player. Gardner Johnson has had his moments. Generally speaking, about a career type of day for him, no doubt. He's had some moments, generally speaking, but nothing too spectacular. He's a safety. 6 interceptions last year, though. Oof. So definitely good. For this year, 0 interceptions, but now he's at 3 sacks on the season. Had no sacks last year, but 6 INTs. Gardner Johnson definitely has his moments. 6 interceptions with Philadelphia a few years ago in 22 when they went to the Super Bowl, only to lose in a heartbreaker to the stupid, stinking Chiefs. But that's how it goes. That's just how it goes, unfortunately. Gardner Johnson started off the season with the Houston Texans, wound up with the Chicago Bears in a trade. Didn't do a whole lot in Houston, but it's looking pretty good for the Bears so far. And the Bears are just becoming a better and better team. So God bless them, and we'll see how this turns out. This game will be in U.S. Bank Stadium at noon. McCarthy played 3 crappy quarters, couldn't complete a pass, looked awfully mediocre out there against or below average, you could say, like a D-level quarterback. Like D as in grade, like letter grade, which is kind of like how Brady talked about like a D-level throw or whatever. It was a D throw. Like, yeah, it was not good. Like D, like maybe it'll barely pass for a throw. Not a complete failure. But whatever. That's basically how he played in the first 3 quarters, and then he had a grade A+ fourth quarter against the Bears. It was fun to watch. We were all hopeful. And then he followed up with F- garbage against the Falcons. But, of course, a couple distractions and an injured ankle could have been part of the problem. A little distraction of like a kid being born, his own, that is, mere hours before, or like a day and a half to be exact. But something along those lines. I mean, that's pretty distracting to say the least. The timing is just what it is, right? It is what it is. And then he comes back last week, looks real good, has some ups and downs, but generally a nice week for McCarthy last week. And this week, a couple of good moments starting out the game, but then things got worse and worse as the game progressed. Looked semi-clutch as it continued, and generally speaking. Pardon me. Just took a swig of coffee here, but just not his day, him being McCarthy. Caleb Williams has had his okay moments, but he's not knocking anyone's socks off yet. He doesn't look like to me, he doesn't look like a franchise quarterback. I don't think he's terrible. He's taken steps forward. What did he have? 35-41 in yardage last year with 20 touchdowns. It's okay. Solid. 6 interceptions last year, only 4 this year. Okay. I mean, it's not bad. 20-6 ratio is not bad. But it's just, there were some games along the way where he just like, that's all he can do? Like, geez, he's kind of mediocre, isn't he? So that would be the frustration. But he definitely adds athleticism. No touchdowns ran in last year for Caleb Williams. This year, he's already got 3. Had almost 500 yards last year at 6 yards a carry. The 4.5-ish plus so far this year for Caleb. but he's over 200 plus now and 3 touchdowns on the ground. He's had 4 fumbles, but 0 have been lost, so that's great. Where last year Caleb lost 5 fumbles to go along with the 12 interceptions. Not the worst numbers you ever saw for a rookie quarterback. So, the Bears are definitely a threat, and Ben Johnson's, it's working out pretty good. Where poor Glenn in New York, he finally got his first and second wins of his head coaching career for the New York Jets the past 2 weeks. So definitely harsh when it comes to that. How do I feel about going into this game? It's entertaining stuff. It's at home again, but being at home certainly didn't help the Vikings at all. And so far, McCarthy has not played well at all in U.S. Bank Stadium for the most part. Again, McCarthy was better in today's game than he was against the Falcons, but that's not saying much. Like, that was as bad a game as you'll ever have, whether you're a rookie or a veteran or whatever the heck you are, a third stringer or a starter. It was a terrible football game for J.J. McCarthy against the Falcons. Again, some distractions, and there was no protection from the offensive line. Today, the offensive line was there, but I don't know, like failure to communicate, something like that. But whatever it is, they need to right the ship, and they need to do it right now. That would be the Vikings. Otherwise, we'll be watching the Bears probably on Wild Card Weekend, and definitely not us. And it's feeling like the Vikings are probably going to end up finishing 4th in this division, most likely. And I did pick the frickin' Ravens to beat the Vikings, unfortunately, and it was kind of close to what I picked. Was it? What did I pick? What did I pick? Like the Ravens would win by 4 or something. It'd be kind of a back and forth game. Bears beat the Giants by 4 today. That's not that great. I mean, the Giants are not a good team, even though they're improving. They're just not winning games. And this was a home game for the Bears, so they barely won this game. Like, it was kind of like just poor tackling by the Giants down the stretch that ended up being kind of like the nail in the coffin. Man, we've had some entertaining games against this team. Love the way McCarthy seems to play against division rivals. I appreciate that. Vikings are 2-0 against division rivals this year. Talking about weird anomaly type stuff once again here. I keep wanting to pick the Vikings in this one. It just keeps popping back up in my head. Like, the Vikings are going to win this game. I think they are. I think the Vikings are going to win this game. Generally encouraging signs by the Vikings defense. Again, it's like, one of the... Obviously, the McCarthy needs to be more sharp. The offensive line, and just generally the offense itself. Not just the offensive line, because it was all of them. Even McCarthy, J.J. McCarthy himself, had a false start in the game, which is weird. Quarterback had a false start. Your starting quarterback had a false start. Your star receiver, one of the best players in all of football, had a false start. A wide receiver. It happens sometimes, yeah, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of stupid. It's like, what's wrong with you? That type of thing. Like, what is going on? Vikings have had some very entertaining games against Caleb Williams. Earlier this season was a back-and-forth crazy game. My head is just spinning right now. It's spinning. It's spinning right now. I just can't... the Vikings defense, again, despite some poor tackling in the game, had another solid game, generally speaking. They frustrated Lamar Jackson enough. I mean, he didn't exactly roll all over the Vikings today. And I got to think that offense is more talented than this one. This Bears offense. They have some pieces. DeAndre Swift is decent. He's not great. He's decent. He's had some moments against us, though. Odunze is a developing good receiver. Not great, but good. Caleb Williams is a developing really good quarterback. Not great. Definitely not great, but he could potentially be a really good quarterback. And I keep coming back to saying he doesn't look like a franchise quarterback, but he doesn't look like a huge bust or anything either. And I don't think McCarthy's going to be a bust either. I don't. I mean, you can see that the fight in him. And it's like, yeah, Christian Ponder had some fight to him, but there just was no special skills to Christian Ponder. Where McCarthy does have special skills. He's only played 4 games in the NFL, so it kind of is what it is. You can see flashes of what McCarthy can do. Vikings will win this football game. Yeah. Funky, back and forth. What the hell was that? Oh, that wasn't too bad. Oh, that was ugly. Oh, that was okay. That type of thing. 27-24. Minnesota Vikings are gonna beat the Bears in a back and forth crazy battle. Quarterback sack here, interception there. Damn it, loss of 7 there. What the hell? Get rid of the ball. That kind of thing where both quarterbacks will have that happen. Now, Caleb Williams didn't get sacked once in this game, but again, the Giants defense ain't your dad's or grandpa's Giants here. No. Vikings defensive line should be better than what the New York Giants posed against Mr. Caleb Williams today. So I think there's going to be a 4 to 5 sack type of performance on both sides of the ball, potentially. Hopefully, McCarthy can keep it down to 2 or 3 or even less. And the Vikings defense can, again, get to Caleb Williams enough 3 or 4 sacks. Sounds more realistic than 5. And force a turnover. That would be huge. Because this defense is not forcing enough turnovers. That's the thing. And again, just stop flinching or whatever. Stop flinching when the play is being called. And the Vikings will have a chance to win 27-24, keeping their season alive and keeping the Bears, like doggone it, we were about to bury this Viking team today and we didn't. So, shoot. Well, we're still ahead, but they're breathing down our necks a little bit more than we thought. Vikings will get to 5-5. Bears drop to 6-4 with a 27-24 win and a crazy back and forth battle. And the Vikings go to 3-0 in the division in this weird season. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 3, final segment of this show, fan interaction. Let's just jump into Twitter right away. Best way to go, at least I think so. Or we can do Facebook first. Hell with it. Yeah, we'll do Facebook first, I think. I did post a video. I can't go back and forth. Facebook or Twitter. Let's do Facebook first. Basically, look up Purple Mafia Show on Facebook. Was there? Yeah, I think this is all from last week, right? Just looking at the Detroit game, just in case something got left over. Nope. So, yeah, the YouTube, it didn't show up too good on there. But, yeah, there was a little more interaction today in the Vikings and Ravens game. I was saying the horrible tackling is back, full force. Mike Dale says, well, this went real pear-shaped, real sharp. Yep, it did. Like, what the heck happened here? Okay, but Mike Dale out of the state of New York jumping on board. Definitely missed him a lot the last few weeks here. Says Andrew Van Ginkel really does make a difference when he's playing. He adds an element where a usually low risk or check down screen pass becomes an adventure. Yes, the fact that he hides his intentions as a pass rusher into jumping back into pass defense while the play is running and in progress, where he obstructs passing lanes at the very last second, he puts a little bit of doubt into quarterback's mind, where there never really is purely a safe passing option, quote-unquote safe passing option. So, yeah, that was a great thought there. Van Ginkel's value is definitely off the charts when you think about that. So, great thoughts there. Mike Dale continuing, saying the Vikings shot themselves in the foot from the get-go. Miles Price has been one of the best kick punt returners in the league, but all of a sudden he's having fumbling jitters. Hopefully he can rectify this going forward, as he's been stellar up to now. And it's just kind of like, man, yeah, it's sad. Finally, a spectacular returner, and he can't freaking hang onto the ball all of a sudden. Mark Carlson out of Iowa says, this is a rough game. Please, no more penalties or turnovers. Another false start. How? At home. Does this team even practice? Seconds left. We still got a false start. Yep. Stupid, isn't it? So, yep, there's the Facebook that I know of. Remember, you guys can put your post-game thoughts. Oh, and a response to the video here, as I posted the video from YouTube like I talked about earlier. If this team would focus both on individual play and team play. So this could also be the post-game area, too, if you want to comment in the video section. So, yeah, like Mark did here, Mike Dale as well, if you want to check out the videos. They're only like usually 5 to 8 minute long video, like immediate to reaction after the game. Excuse me, back to Mark from Iowa. If this team would focus both on individual play and team play, I believe we could be a contender. Right now, with all the false starts and turnovers, we are just playing around. Last week, the team beat Detroit, and this week they let the Ravens walk all over us. I don't see the team going anywhere at the end of the season. There is no positive consistency. Love Naylor, and Adam was flagged for one of the most BS calls I've seen in years. Mark from Iowa. Yep, that was an extremely frustrating call, to say the least. Or he's like lowering his shoulder or something along those lines. All right, so to Twitter, at Purple Mafia Show there. Mad Martin out of Northern Scotland says, you missed my call in again, in saying that was pretty negative after the Chargers debacle. So perhaps after yesterday, not necessary to play it. I would have loved to have played it. I was saying I'm checking again. I don't really see it. I don't really see your call in the email. Something might have gone wrong. So nope, I didn't see it. I looked and looked and looked, and I looked up your name and everything in there. Unless you sent it from a different email, it only goes to the one back in October. So I'm not sure what happened there. Like early October, I'm saying too. So I'm truly sorry. I hope I didn't miss anything. But this one, I'm pretty sure. I've been checking and combing the email a lot better than I did that first time around. So I would hope I would catch it. Dave Hickey out of Iowa says, Skull opening drive touchdown. That's the way to start the game. JJ made crucial passes. And way to go to Jalen Naylor. Yep, with that 62-yard catch. That was awesome, wasn't it? Mad Martin says, love that trick play. Sadly, 2 yards short. But that's what I want to see. Wasn't that fun? Mad Martin continuing here, saying, on this drive, Henry had a 1-yard run to the left, and Grenard did an excellent job of maintaining containment in case Jackson decided to keep the ball. This level of defensive play needs to be sustained throughout the game. Yes, yep, 1,000%. I love that trick play, sadly 2 yards short. Yep, sorry. Yep, I read that one twice. I'm impressed with JJ going through his progressions as fast as he does, and it's only his fourth game played in the NFL. Add Gink to this D, and it's a totally different beast. Yep, kind of like how Mike Dale was talking. Yeah, it's so true. Rookie error, he'll learn. Yeah, I was like flat ranting about something. Yeah, kind of a crappy decision throwing into traffic, in my opinion. And Justin Jefferson didn't help either. That was kind of a lot of complaints on Vent Line with Score North. I was saying totally with you there. He's going to have some fucking funky moments, pardon me. Dave Hickey jumps in and says, we got to play better in the second half. Man, so it's going to be Ben Martin and Dave Hickey back and forth a little bit. And yeah, that second half was awful. Yep, second half ended up being really horrible. Matt Burns says, looking like one of those days where when it rains, it pours. To be fair, I think it's what I expected. This season's good games and bad games. Yep, it's just that's what I expected this season. Good games and bad games. Yeah, Dave Hickey saying it's not looking good. Matt Martin says illegal contact no longer a thing, I guess. That safety grabbing Jefferson as he ran by is an inexcusable no call there. It really is one of those bleeping days. Yeah, it was a BS call to say the least. Saying it's been rough. It's been very rough. And I was like, no. I was trying to say no question about it. Not I know, no question about it. Not to mention the poor tackling is back, full force, just to make us 10 times more pissed off along with these frustrating calls. Matt Martin says, I can't say I'm pissed off. A very sloppy game, too many inconsistencies on both sides of the ball, but kind of what I was expecting for the rest of the season. Just a mediocre year, huh? And that's definitely feeling. I can feel that answer. I can. Dave Hickey says the Vikings have traded in their penalties on kickoffs for turnovers, and they are picking up false starts like crazy on the O-line. Dave Hickey, I think he wraps everything up here. Yep, the Mad Martin must have just said screw it at that point. Dave Hickey says these tipped passes for the Ravens are happening on basically every Viking series. It's like every Viking series is McCarthy 5-4 or 6-4. BS turnover on downs again. The Vikings can't get out of their own way with these penalties and turnovers. Jefferson might get the punter with all the drops and the O-line with all the penalties. Oh. Where am I? Yeah, so where are these calls going? Dave Hickey says, I had a call in this week, but a couple things I forgot to mention. Why did we sign Mason if we're going to throw deep on short yardage situations? Yeah, see, it's really stupid, isn't it? But where are these calls going? Maybe I can find Dave Hickey's real quick. I might even be able to play it still if it's in there. Because I know Mad Martin's. I looked and looked and I couldn't find it. Is Dave in here? Let's see. Let's see. Could it possibly be in there? See, no, that's one from many years ago. Well, what happened? What's going on? Where are these call-ins going? Are you sending them to a different email? Oh, man. Huh. That's very strange. Maybe it could have gone to Google? I'm going to check quick just to make sure, because I feel bad if I'm missing people's call-ins here. It's going to be 2 call-ins missing here. That'd be really bad. Sorry for the delay here. Just want to keep digging around to see if something, but I thought I would have a... Huh. See if I can type this in. Everything's all messed up. I apologize here for the weird on-air stuff. Nope. There's no calling. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on. That is so weird. And I apologize that I'm missing people's call-ins. I might encourage people to send it to the Google account instead then. Maybe Gmail. I'm not sure what to say or do here because I feel terrible if I'm missing people's call-ins. That's not cool. Yeah, that's... nope, that's... Yeah, that one's back in 2024. I am not sure what's going on here. So, my deep apologies. I don't know. Hopefully maybe we can find some other route to be able to pull this off because if I'm missing people's calls, I feel like a jerk here. So I apologize if this is what's happening. Dave says, is KOC going to continue to not utilize the tight end? He's usually a secret blanket for the quarterback, but he doesn't want a security blanket, pardon me, but he doesn't want to use them for some reason. He goes for the long ball and short yardages all the time. Man, it's really weird. Final tweet here. Thanks for all the work you put into this podcast, Joey, all the research and history behind every episode. It's fantastic. Yep, thank you so much. One note from several weeks ago, James Cook is Delvin's little brother, not his cousin. Oh, whoops. Oh, I apologize. My bad. So my apologies there. That actually does make more sense. I thought they said cousin. My apologies. And I'm annoyed right now that I'm not being able to find the call-ins. I feel incompetent right now. That is so strange. Yep, like both Dave Martin and... yeah. See, this October 8th, that was October 8th. That was like the first call-in from Dave Martin. And then there's nothing from Dave Hickey from 2025. So I don't know what's going on. And I feel bad about that. So sorry about that to both of you. If hopefully we can figure out some kind of resolution to be able to have everything where I can see it and get the calls in to the show. With that said, well, Christmas lights are starting to pop up, and I think it's exciting to be able to see Christmas lights again. I hope you guys enjoy that and don't mind it too much, because I certainly enjoy it. I might go look around at some Christmas lights here at the end of the episode, and once I'm able to post it up and just get out of the house for a little bit, or apartment, or whatever we call this place, and enjoy the couple of Christmas lights that are starting to pop up around, because it's a special thing in my book. Hopefully you guys like that type of thing as well, but it's up to you what you feel about Christmas lights, especially this early in the season, or pre-season is what it really is. It's Christmas pre-season is what this truly is at the end of the day. With that said, thank you again so much for listening to the show. I deeply apologize for not being able to find your call-ins. I feel terrible about that, and I hope that doesn't discourage you from doing it in the future. I just don't know what to say. I feel terrible. Hopefully we can figure something out, but I'm guessing the route maybe to get this settled is probably Gmail, Palladino Live at Gmail from now on. I'll probably remove Yahoo completely from there to prevent that. So Palladino Live at gmail.com might be the better route to go. Plus I get more of an alert from them than Yahoo when it comes to acquiring emails. So then I'll be able to see it. I tend to get a pretty big notification on my phone, being it an Android phone anyway, so it'll pop up quickly, where Yahoo, maybe it's just comes and goes. I have no idea what happened here. But I noticed that happened with Vince Germano a while back. He tried to send in a call-in for a show, and the email never came. But then it did work with Gmail. So PaladinoLive@gmail from now on will be the new email to send this. And if you still have the files, send them there if you can, guys. If you still have them, the files, like the call-ins. With that said, thank you again so much for listening, and we'll see if the Vikings can beat the Bears next week.